I don't think that any of these shows are really fully formed in a vacuum. I think that the most major contribution I really gave was a lifetime of shenanigans and deep diving that set me up well for when I got the call from the extraordinary, the mind-bogglingly amazing Amy Poehler, you know, to create a show together. She called me up about 7 years ago and she said, Natasha, as long as I've known you, you've always been the oldest girl in the world. And I said, what kind of an insult phone call is this, Amy? How did you get my number and what do you want from me? And she said, what I'd like, young miss, is to create a series with you sort of based on something like that concept. And then I was delighted and more than game. And of course, any chance to get to mind meld with Amy is something I can't even believe is an option in this life. Yeah, I mean, this idea of a sort of an imposter syndrome that I think most people kind of suffer from. I mean, I found it fascinating reading Michelle Obama's memoir, that she had that question sort of her whole life of, you know, am I enough? And it's so easy, you know, for us to look at a distance at other people, at other figures and be like, clearly, surely this person who's so singular definitely has it figured out. And yet that seems to be the experience of life. And that none of us quite, you know what it is, because it's a bit of a gibberish riddle in the first place, and that sort of all these concepts that we are sort of trained to fight for, like ambition and, you know, youth and, you know, finding the one, is really sort of a false bill of goods in the sense that, you know, mortality is real. Hopefully the search is actually to be able to kind of, I guess, connect with people and you know, in the case of Russian Doll, you know, people like Amy and Leslie Headland, the other co-creator of the show, that became this kind of brain trust, and you know, get to build from what I had, which was a seed of an idea, and sort of really make it sing. It is validating. It's such a weird business. I mean, it's even a weird life where, you know, one is always questioning, like, does anybody really see me? Do I even really see me? You know, and the idea of getting a phone call like that from someone like her, it really does sort of tell your sort of negative, like your self-critical thoughts to maybe take it down for just a couple of hours, because some good news has come in. With regards to wearing these different hats, you know, writing, directing, producing, and I think for this particular project, it really would not have made sense any other way. I think it's a story that's so personal to me that, you know, the sort of architecture of it wouldn't make sense kind of to hand off. I think, you know, it was very lucky to get to put together this extraordinary writer's room of all women. And then the only directors on the show are myself and Leslie Headland, the co-creator, and Jamie Babbitt, who of course I've known for 20 years from But I'm a Cheerleader. You know, but it was incredible to get to work with Leslie and Amy because they were we were this kind of like three-pronged brain. And so I can't imagine having done it alone. You know, that seems insane, you know, and I would say even, you know, if I had directed more of it, I think would have been really crazy too, just as far as acting in so much of it would have been almost like a safety hazard in terms of, can we really actually monitor that all of these things are sort of going correctly? But yeah, it's an incredible experience to get to have. Television, probably even more than film, is, you know, by virtue of its structure, that it's really a 4-hour film, you know, these 8.5-hour episodes, more than even a movie, it needs to be collaborative. Like at its essence, if you're not sort of open to the idea that the dream would be that you have a kind of a real concept, and with each person that you're hiring onto the team, you're sort of saying, I have faith in you that you can beat my idea and make it better, that you can make it sing. Like I think of somebody like Tim Burton, you know, and the way he's able to bring together sort of costumes and production designers, and that, you know, who's kind of got like a more, you know, like visually in terms of modern. I mean, surely we could go back in time, and Fellini's and all these guys, but like Tim Burton has such a specificity of vision that's is so clearly kind of his trip, and yet really what ends up making it sing is all these people that he's able to hand off to who can try and kind of beat his vision with him.